Hi Glenn. Right. First job, of course, is to take your air cleaner off. Should be reasonably straightforward. I don't have one, so I can't show that. 5 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've loosened these already, but there's also one more thing you need to do before you can lift the top off, and that's to remove the little connector that holds the choke mechanism in place. So I'll turn my carburetor around. You can see it just here as this rod comes down from these butterflies. If I move the choke, you can see that that moves the choke flaps. So I've got a split pin in mind. You might have a clip or a little circlip or something, I'm not sure, but I've got a little split pin. On mine there's a little washer, and you just pop that out of the mechanism, and that's loose. And once that's loose, you can lift the top off, as long as you've got all the screws loose, of course. Give it a gentle move around as you lift it, and if I turn that over, you'll see we've got the float. Let me move. Got the float in there and the gasket. So once that's off, we can put that to one side, and you can see what you've got in your carburetor. Right then, easy peasy. You've got a twin choke carburetor. If you move the linkage, the one that opens first, which I believe is the same on your car, is toward the back of the vehicle. So the one that opens first is the primary, then you've got the secondary. Oh, camera's moved, sorry about that. I'll put the camera back where it belongs. Hopefully that'll stay there. Yeah, so you've got the primary, secondary. So each of these are noted as primary and secondary. So the one here, that there is a primary. That's a secondary. This one here is a primary. That's a secondary. And if you look at the bottom of the float bowl, just in there, if you can see it very clearly, there's a primary and secondary. So all of those need to come out so we can read what is on them. So I'll start off with the ones on the side first, and that's the primary primary idle screw. So it's tight in, so you don't have to count how many turns out or anything like that. You just unscrew it, that comes out, easy peasy. And on the end, this section actually pulls out, and this is the bit we're looking at. And on there should be some very small lettering just around that collar there. You don't have to take it out of this bit, you can leave it in and still read it, but they are two separate parts. I don't know if you can make it out there. That there, it reads, let's see, 45. Okay, so you're looking at sort of anything between, I suppose, 30 and 60, I think, is the maximum they go to. So I'm guessing you're going to be sort of a 40 or something, because this is running rich, so I think maybe a 40 and yours is probably about right. So that can go in. Mine is a 45, and that's the idle, primary idle 45. So that goes back in. We can screw that one and tighten it. The other side, secondary idle, on the screws. And on mine, I've checked it already, it's the same thing. That comes out if you wish it to, and that's 50. So I've already checked on mine, so that's a 50, so that can pop back in, easy peasy. Right, the ones on the top, these are the air jets, and that governs how much air goes through and sucks up fuel from the bowl. So these here control air. Back on the primary side, again, this just unscrews, easy peasy. Actually, looking at these, you don't have to actually unscrew them, because right on the end, on this top surface, is written what it is, so you can read these without taking them out. So in fact, you can leave those in and just read them. You might need to clean them a little bit of Scotch-Brite or a bit of fine emery paper or something. But my one on this side, the air primary is 170, secondary is 180. So that's that done. Okay, the main jets, and this is the one that controls how much fuel goes in, are down in the bowl. So I'll turn this bowl around and you hopefully can see those. This one here, primary side, go for the primary first, just unscrews. You don't have to count screw turns or anything. A bit fiddly, but get it out, and that is written on the side, and I've got a 145 in this one. Okay, that's a fiddly beggar to get back in, so someone with small hands or deft use of your screwdriver gets it in. Just make sure you don't cross thread it, because that's a bit of an awkward one. And the same for the secondary. I won't take it right out because it's a bit fiddly, but on mine again that's 145, so yours is going to be somewhere close but not exactly the same what I thought. So I'll turn it back around, so we've got primary on this side again, secondary this side. This one in the centre here, sorry, those ones down there are the main jets. I'm not sure if I said that. These here, I think this is accelerator pump one here. These are the Venturis, and they just pull out. It might be a bit tight, but they just pull out. And on the side, you can see there, that's 4.5. You have to make sure they're going the right way, because this side is solid. This side's got the hole, and that's where the fuel flows. So that goes back in toward the jets, and that's where the fuel comes up, gets sucked it, and goes through the Venturi in there, sucked out the bottom and down into the engine. So they just drop in, easy peasy. This one again, that again is a 4.5. So hole, back to that side, easy peasy. They might be a little tight. Some are tight, some are loose, but you know, nothing dreadful. And this one, just unscrews, and it's not the brass bit you're looking at, it's this piece in the middle of the alloy. This is for the accelerator pump. So when you put your foot down, instead of a little stall that happens, it puts an extra little bit of fuel through, and that on mine is a 65. Okay, that goes in. Yours will have, see the little copper washer? The little copper washer sometimes gets stuck on the bottom here. Just make sure you put that back, and that goes in. Can only go in one way, easy peasy. Screw it down, make sure it's located in the little slots, tighten down, and that's it, job done. And after that it's just a case of reassembly. So put it back together again, make sure your float is free, make sure you've got your gasket in place, gently put it down so you're not going to bend your float, because that is set to get the right level. And how you set it is you bend this part of the float, the metal part. Yours might have a metal float actually, some do, some don't. So that just pops in there, nice and gentle. Make sure it's settled down well, it's all fitted. Pop your screws back in, reconnect your little choke lever. Your choke will be different. I've got a manual choke on mine, which is this lever here. You've got the automatic choke, I believe, so yours will be slightly different, but I expect this mechanism here is the same. So that's it, quite straightforward. Thanks for your time. Hopefully you'll do it for me. Thanks very much, Glenn. Cheers, bye bye.